Hey guys, so today I'm going to be analyzing the finals in HGC, talking about what both teams could have done a little bit differently and how they could have taken these games and pushed them a lot further. But we were also going to be talking about the good things. These are all pro players, by the way, so they most likely did most of what they were trying to do correctly. However, there was still a lot that both teams could have done to make this game a victory or make it at least closer to being an easier game for them. So let's get started. If you don't want any spoilers, I will be going through the entire game here, so we will be getting some spoilers at the end. If you want to go through and watch everything first, watch everything first. But if you already know who made it to the finals and you're willing to watch this, check it out. So to start off, the team comps that are being ran, Dignitas is running a blow-up composition, and we have the gen.g who's running what is called a stall comp. I will be doing another video to explain the different compositions that were used in HGC and explain all the different details of it, how you play it, and how you play against it. But for the most part, a blow-up comp is about picking one person, getting them away from the team, and then completely blowing them up. A stall comp is about making sure that the enemy runs out of steam while you have very sustained healing and sustained damage. So that is the how they're trying to play out these team fights, and that's how we're going to pretty much watch for this entire game. So we'll get started and get right into this. The gen.g, again, they went for a stall comp. They have Tyrael for shields and sanctification. They have Tassadar for shields and armor. They have Raynor as their sustained damage, Yrel for armor as well as sustained damage, and they have the Deckard Cain for peel, for armor, for peel, for health, and shielding. All right. Then on to Dignitas' side, they go for a different composition. They go for a blow-up comp where they have the Stitches, who is used to, and I'm actually going to pause just for a second. Stitches is used to set up the blow-up comp. Kerrigan's used to set up the blow-up comp or follow-up. And then you have the Tyrande, the Kerrigan, the Hanzo, all as the follow-up for the blow-ups, while the Medivh is used for shenanigans. You can pretty much portal in, blow up someone, portal out, or you can portal in, gorge someone if that's what they want to do, and then portal out. Because the type of map that they're on, portal gorge isn't that great purely because if you gorge someone and come out really far from the fight, while you will get one kill, you'll likely lose like 15 out of the 40 of the objective, and you can't really afford to be gone for that long. So we're gonna just so gorge might not be picked up, but even still we could see it just because of the portal. So starting off, Dignitas starts off by getting a portal in there, and this is used because if anyone shows up in vision, you're immediately in range to immediately hook and blow someone up. You can see a V-ping that was immediately put out from the other team as they realized that this is probably something that's going to happen, so they all hide behind this objective, or this door. The second that you see that the enemies aren't coming through the door, Stitches should be immediately trying to find either a position here to hook through this area or a position down here to hook through this area. Either one of these will have the hook go all the way through and they will still lead to a kill. Both of these, however, are very predictable. So right as they see the Stitches move from one area to another, they can stand out here and they can get vision. As we see, immediately happens. We see a hook immediately go out, and the tools to survive the hook are not really out there yet. The level 4 talents brings the armor from Tassadar and the armor from Yrel. Until then, they don't have the tools. So up until level 4, Dignitas has all the opportunities to get kills. The blow-up comp should go pretty simply. The hook should go out. As the hook is going out, you'll see a Tyrande stun that's going to be cast right there. After the Tyrande stun, we're going to see the stun go out from the Kerrigan, and Kerrigan's going to jump in, maybe using a W or an E to pull them into a stun that might be a little bit closer into their team. Then we're going to see a repositioning from the Hanzo to use a W into the Raynor, followed by a Q and an auto attack. All of this together is well over the amount of health that this Raynor actually has. Boom, 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 boom. The major mistake that was done from Red Team in this was really just preparing for this. The mistake that blue team made was that the Kerrigan pulled him out of her own stun. Could just be not practicing Kerrigan enough before getting into this tournament, as you don't need to actually do a pull after a stun. You just do your own stun afterwards. You only do the pull if you want to get them closer to your team. Your team was already in position. So this could have been done a lot more efficiently, a lot faster, but it didn't really matter as this fight is already heavily in Dignitas's favor. The next mistake that's made by Dignitas is if you get a kill, get something with it. You aggressively need to go and immediately start going for something else. And you could have killed that without a Kerrigan combo and then immediately Kerrigan comboed onto someone and followed up with everything once again. And they could just go and immediately deathball a turret right here if they wanted to and get that huge chunk of experience. The challenge is that right now, everything's being used a little slow. They go for another pull, and once again, the Kerrigan misses her combo, but they force the jump out of the Urel. This force of the jump makes it to where it's a very obvious trajectory of where she's going, which means that it's a very obvious pull from the stitches, leading to another kill. With this being said, they just killed 2 people. Take a tower. When you kill people, the enemies can't fight back. They need to take something with this, and a lot of times they just go back to lanes. They do have a little bit of an advantage, but my worry about having this little bit of an advantage is that they're not pushing anything with this, and it's very easy to just come back from this. Dignitas really needs to push this advantage when they have it. Gen.g, they need to stop getting picked off. They need to make sure that wherever their weakest health people are, they need to make sure that they have the Tassadar near them to give them the shields, possibly even the Deckard. They also need to try to make sure that if someone gets hooked, it's either the Tassadar or the Tyrael, as they have the easiest option of getting out. We see camps being picked up by the left side. One thing that I don't really like about just getting a camp like this is when you have an advantage, I would rather bait the enemy to getting their camp and invading that. But Gen.g plays it smart. They expected that. They didn't go for the camp, and it generally was pretty good. A nice combo, but a 30-second cooldown by just using an 18 and a 14-second cooldown. Hanzo's just going from camp to camp, just trying to get as much pressure as possible. While they do have these advantages, my worry about it is what are they getting from these camps? They're not pushing with the camps. They're just getting camps and leaving. And every time they're getting these camps and leaving, they're not pressuring. They're not giving any more of their advantage. They need to be getting something else with this. We see that the Kerrigan can either blow these up really quickly or could just sit there and hide in lane and get soak. So she tries to go for blowing them up quickly, but doesn't really, again, doesn't give any actual advantage. I'd love to see them deathball, take out a turret or something, see what they can do, but in general, they're not getting much. Now, what are the tools that are available for for Gen.g to survive these blow-up comps now? They have the extra armor from Kala's Light. Kala's Light makes it to where when the shield is broken, they get 15 armor. So you need to break through a shield, and now you need to deal with 15 armor for 3 seconds. They have Urel, Aegis of Light, giving 25 armor for 4 seconds, and they have the shielding from Deckard. This is too much survivability to blow up a single person anymore. So now Dignitas has to burn those tools, or at least one of those tools, before they do their combos. And it's going to make it much harder for them as they've waited this long before they actually got this objective. We see portal usage to allow them to get from lane to lane faster as they go for the camps before the objective. This camp is often picked up before the objective, not during the objective, when it's on this top area, purely because it'll just be cleared safely if it's picked up during the objective. Now, even that being said, both teams decide to pick it up during the objective. I would have liked to see Dignitas actually invade right here, as a lot of abilities are going to be used just to deal with the camp. If those abilities are used to deal with the camp, that means they won't have those abilities during a team fight, and you have a blow-up comp. You blow up one person, you steal the camp. You've been having these great fights before. There's no reason to be trading camps right now and playing it safe. Dignitas really needs to pressure their advantage, and they just aren't doing it this game. We see the objective spawning in 4 seconds. We're going to fast forward a little bit as we get into the objective. We see Kerrigan just pretty much melting through these. This is exactly why she's drafted on this map, is to just kind of blow through the objective as fast as possible. Deckard's setting up really aggressive potions. One of the things I don't really like about when you're playing a stall comp is to have these aggressive potions, because the people who are going to be in the front line like this won't die fast enough to where, I mean, I guess his idea is if someone gets pulled, they're going to grab a potion and get shielding before that, but generally that's not really necessary. You can play this a lot safer, and you won't have these issues. So I think you want to have the potions because you want to stall out these fights a lot longer. You already have the answers as long as you don't use all of your tools. So making sure that you have potions in the back is extremely important. So right now, all that we're seeing is Dignitas is going to be doing their best to burn 1 or 2 of the pieces of survivability. And you're going to hear me saying those terms a lot, the pieces of survivability. They need to burn 1 or 2 of those before they win the game. So how are they going to burn these pieces of survivability? With just sustained damage. You're going to see that the Kerrigan, the Hanzo, the Tyrande are going to just try to get really safe damage while all being in range of each other in case a hook does go off. They want to follow up everything with all of their CC and damage. So you see everyone's clearing safely while they're all clustered. You see that gen.g is a little bit more spread out like you normally see on these maps. So as we get into this fight, we see that the objective is still being picked up, and one important thing that we just noticed, a shield was just used onto Raynor right there, and the armor was just used onto Raynor right there. Also, we just have the Tyrael, who also used his shield a little bit earlier. Now, Tyrael's shield's going to be up pretty soon as the cooldown's lower. This is 2 pieces of survivability that's already been used. So what's going to happen right here? You see a portal immediately go out the second that they see the shield being used and the armor jump being used. And we see that this goes right into the combo, stun, into another stun, into a kill. That's how simple this is, guys. In these blow-up comps, they look for 1 or 2 pieces of the survivability that's used a little too early, and their team immediately blows up someone. We get into a little bit of an awkward fight. One of the challenges about having a blow-up comp is the healers that you have generally don't have a lot of sustainability. They tend to be people who just follow up, deal a lot of damage, and they're kind of done. Tyrande does not have a lot of sustainability. She's going to heal herself, and then she's going to get a shield from Medivh, and she's just going to get right out. They don't like to use their CC defensively a lot because if they get a time to turn, they want to make sure that they can turn on someone and have all of their CC available. We see both teams go over and grab their fountains. As they grab their fountains, they're both able to go back into these fights and finish up the objective. Kerrigan goes straight onto the objective to start getting these, and gen.g decides to take an aggressive approach. They say, oh, well, abilities were already used, but we still have our abilities. Let's try to take someone out while we have a chance. They're taking a pretty much a 4v5, waiting for their task star to come back, but they still have a lot of tools, and it's harder to, I guess the best way to say it is it's kind of hard to do a blow-up comp when the enemies are on you, because you might not have all of your tools available. So we see them immediately jump onto the Medivh. The Medivh sets a portal for himself to get out, and the Kerrigan ends up getting rooted by just the tip of that triangle, and that root makes it to where she can't take the portal out. She gets pretty much just jumped on, and after a little bit, now the fight is in favor of gen.g, but the objective's pretty close for Dignitas to get, so they just need to play it a little bit safe. And what I love about this team fight is, look, no CC is being used. They're saving all of their CC. They're just doing a little bit of damage. No hooks are being used. No stuns from Tyrande are being used. The portals are only being used defensively. Everyone's just playing it safe. There's one stun, but they time it out. And now that Kerrigan's here, watch how this fight turns. Now that Kerrigan's here, everyone starts using everything that they have. They start using all of their abilities. They start getting right into these fights, and they're looking for, again, the tools of survivability. We just had a Tyrael W go off. The Deckard is almost out of mana right here, as well as the Yrel is going to have to use her E to escape if she has it. And this immediately is going to allow them to go and get a couple kills out of this fight. We have the Raynor and the Yrel who both go 2 different targets. The Deckard ends up getting taken out. He tries to pull them off in a different direction, and there we go. They saved the majority of their CC for the moment that they had their whole team available, and they blew up everything. The first thing that you do when you take an objective that jumps over the wall or that people can DPS from the other side of the wall is destroy a side wall. It has the lowest amount of health, and it allows your team to kind of get in there if it jumps over and get more kills. So the first thing that they do, come on, please do it. Okay, there we go. Go for the sidewall, deal some damage. They destroy the sidewall, they destroy one turret, and they go straight back there, getting some more portal shenanigans, seeing if they can get some damage off. And they use that I didn't like. I did the video about not using dry CC. So if they were going to dodge the hook, there's no need to put a Tirana stun in the same area. So they could have saved the Tirana stun for this, but they don't actually need this. They can just use the Kerrigan one, and it's good to go. Either way, it works out pretty well for them. They have a portal to get out whenever they want to get out, so they could pretty much just leave if they want to leave. In general, they go back for another fight. They end up taking out the Tassadar, and they go straight onto the Urel. And they decide to take out the Urel. Their Punisher's about dead, so once again, this is a little bit of miscoordination, but it ends up working out okay. Purely because a lot of different things happened. So I think they need to communicate a little bit better on what they're using their abilities when, but in general, it's still something that they can work on a little bit. Tyrael makes a mistake of using his sword in a visible location. What he could have definitely done is thrown his sword upward, and then he could have gone downward, but in general, they still covered this entire area. It doesn't really matter where he goes. So he ends up staggering his death here. And then the Tyrael is dead. Right here, this is another area where they get a lot of kills. Take the fort fast. Send one person to double soak. Whoever can do it the fastest. Could be Kerrigan, could be the Stitches, and everyone else needs to blow up this fort. Get level 10 fast. If they can get level 10 fast, then they can start stealing all the enemy's camps, and they can pressure even further. The problem is this really awkward, let's stand around for a bit. When you have a Medivh, just put a shield on someone, have them step up, take a couple tower shots, deal some damage, blow this thing up, and portal everyone out. It's that simple. But like playing around, they end up taking a portal shot, or they took a tower shot anyways, had to portal it anyway, or use the Medivh shield anyways. They had to use all their tools anyways. It's the dumbest thing. If they would have just gotten this thing done with everyone there and aggressively pushed it, then they would have been fine. Now it's going to just kind of sit here for a little bit. They're not going to have the time to pressure for that early level 10 as much as they could. Just in general, there's just too many things that were made, or too many mistakes that were made here that could have made this a really early level 10, and they could have invaded this camp right here with level 10 advantage, taken them out, grabbed this, and just kept pushing their advantage. They're playing so afraid, which I don't blame them. Gen.g is very good, but in order to beat someone as aggressive as Gen.g, they need to do it by being aggressive as well. They've tried the defensive route. They lost the games when they've tried to play defensive. They tried to play the out macro area, and that's actually the only time that teams have beat Gen.g. We saw Team Liquid beat Gen.g several times by doing the macro side of things, by doing some weird split pushing. But in general, Gen.g wins these team fights. You can't give them even team fights. You have to keep those advantages. And they just keep grabbing camps that keep getting easily cleared. And that's my big problem with Dignitas this whole game, is they're not really pressuring their leads that much. Now here, I like this. They've got the 11s, 11 over 9. They pressure it. They could just grab the front walls here because the next objective's here, and then they could go and grab this camp as they still have the lead. My worry about going for a fort is it's a lot of health that's kind of wasted. I'd like to get the camp here and then go and get this right here and be able to take these leads even further. But unfortunately, they don't really go for this. They keep going for kills and not for all this pressure. These kills are cool, except for the fact that there's no objectives up. And so these kills are just going to get like a little bit of experience. But in general, and that's another thing too, they wasted all of this commitment when the enemies still had their tools of survivability up. And as long as the enemies have the tools of survivability up, you're not getting a kill. So they committed a lot, and they didn't realize that they had those things. The other thing that I don't like that Gen.g doesn't do, or Dignitas doesn't do, is they don't call out big cooldowns, important cooldowns. One of the things that you can do, say for instance that Tassadar uses his E right now, it's a 30-second cooldown, so you could literally say 8, 1, 6, Tassie. That's literally all you would need to type. 816 TAS E. That tells you that Tastar's E is on cooldown until 816. There's so many times where they don't want to attack Tas because they don't know when his cooldowns are up, but any one person could do this. So they could burn his cooldowns the first time. Look how aggressively he's playing this entire time. And he's been doing this entire game, even when he has his E available. They go for another opportunity for a kill, but again, the tools of survivability are still available for Gen G, so they're not going to be able to get any kills. On to this next objective, we're going to fast forward just a little bit. They go for, again, both teams go for this camp, but this team wouldn't have had this camp if they would have invaded this instead of just taking this fort. And it would have been very, very easy for them to get this camp. And that would have also pressured top lane quite a bit, probably even taken a tower or a wall while this camp was going. The priorities of Dignitas. Also, the other thing that bothers me is Medivh wasn't hovering over here. If Medivh was hovering over here, this camp would have gone a lot slower, purely because they would have been worried that Stitches would have been here or here or here or here and go for a pull. So they would have probably spread out to go like try to watch to make sure that their team wasn't there. And so there's several little details that Dignitas really needs to work on. A hook was, or a lunar flare was fired without a hook. I thought that was kind of weird. So they go in, they start being a little aggressive. They're using their tools too early. They need to save everything so that when one hook goes off, they can fight. They need to use Bile, and they need to use Kerrigan's ult to get the enemies to use their tools of survivability, and then they need to use combos. But instead, they've both already used their combos. This is a lost fight before it even starts for Dignitas. They can't do anything here. They can't blow up anyone, and now they're in the positions that they don't even want to be in because they can't take any of these fights. We see all the ults used defensively, and instead, they just die. There's no benefit to any of this. They should have got them to use their tools by using their ults, and then they should have used their actual blow-up tools later. So, Gen G pretty much gets this objective for free. But, what is Gen G that they do wrong here? Well, here's the biggest thing. So when you're getting close to finishing the objective, the first thing that you want to ask yourself is there any reason why we want to stall this objective? Okay, why would we want to stall this objective? The first thing that you always want to look for in stalling an objective, what I mean by stalling an objective is you get it down to 39 and you get one minion down to like one hit away. You leave one person there to grab that right as the enemies try to contest it. All right, you leave just that one person. And then you have everyone else do everything that you need to do before the objective spawns. So when you stall an objective out, what you should be doing is you leave one person like here. And then you should have 2 or 3 people get this. You should have anyone who needs to back. Say, for instance, you've got this Deckard right here who is pretty low on mana, as well as the Tyrael who's low on mana. Both of them could back, and all 3 of these guys could back. We could leave just the Rainer sitting right here. And this Rainer could sit right here with one minion at really low health, and then right as the enemies show up, he could shoot it once and then just be done, right? And get out. So the challenge here is that they also want to wait for Yrel to be with the team. So they should actually stall this out a little bit. They should stall it out. They should get the Yrel to finish this objective. They should have 2 people back or get this camp. The camp would be the easiest because their team would still be near the area. And so they could just leave like maybe just the Tyrael here, and then they could have everyone else available. But generally, if they would do that instead, grab this camp, and then they would push. They visually see where Stitches is. They see where Hanzo is. They see where Medivh has already used his portal. And they just killed the Tyrande. So, or the Tyrande just respawned. It's very easy for them to get stuff done here and then be more prepared. Instead, they get the objective, and Yrel's not even there with them when they get the objective, so she doesn't get any of the globes. They don't get the camp when it's up, and now the enemies are all prepared to defend against this. The first thing that happens is very, very quick, so feel free to watch this as it happens. So we have Hanzo who's going to pull the Punisher closer, and then he's going to try to pull it up this direction, away from their fountain, and closer to where the keep, they could safely damage it over here by the keep. And the way he's going to do it is very clean. He pulls in the Protector. Remember, or the Punisher. Remember that the Punisher always stuns when it lands and always stuns the first target. I don't know what's being clicked over there. It always stuns the first target that's here. Now watch how long he's actually stunned. Boom, that fast. 1/10 of a second, guys. 1/10 of a second is how long he was stunned before Tyrande healed him with Celestial Alignment to remove the stun. No one on their team had time to follow up on that, and then he's immediately out. He then jumps over and swaps the damage over onto Kerrigan, who can shield herself, and then Kerrigan swaps the damage over to Stitches. I don't like the fact that they pull it closer to the fountain, but they do pre-tap. Pre-tapping is surprisingly a higher level strategy that I wish would leak down into the lower levels. Pre-tapping is you pick up a fountain before you really need it during a fight that you're going to be losing a fountain. You grab this fountain so that when the enemies deal damage to you, you can take a little bit of safe damage. You can throw a couple free abilities out because you know you're going to gain that health and mana back before the fight's over. And your fountain will likely go down during the fight. So it's just a very good strategy that's easy to pull off. We see that the Lornado goes out to pull the Stitches closer. The Portal immediately goes out to save the Stitches in case he gets in a bad position. And the Stitches immediately uses his Putrid Bile to make sure that in case he got pulled into their team, he would be able to slow them all as he goes out. A lot of defensive cooldowns were used to make sure that they didn't die from that Lornado. Overall, great fight for Dignitas. Pretty poor fight because the team just wasn't ready and they didn't have any major advantages for this thing. So gen.g pretty much just did nothing with that objective and in fact got themselves into a worse position than if they would have lost that objective. They get a portal again, a lot of weird, a pull into a stun, which the stun was missed. A lot of miscommunication in there. I don't like the dry CC being thrown out by Zalia pretty much this entire game, but we do see the ult being used. What I love about this is they already had her. The Kerrigan saved her combo because they knew that the tools of survivability were not used yet. So the Kerrigan holds back her abilities as the tools of survivability are used. Right as the tools are over, then Kerrigan uses her combo, and boom, Yrel's dead. Now, the thing about chasing that I don't usually like is I like to have a 5-second rule. When is the next CC available? The next CC available is Tyrande's slow, which is on her W. And then it's going to be her stun, which is her E, which should be in the next 8 seconds. Her slow should be in the next 3 seconds. Her E should be in the next 8 seconds. So you can follow, but I usually don't like chasing anyone if you can't see yourself getting a CC in the next 5 seconds. So we do have the slow coming out from the owl from the Tyrande. Right there. Now they're slowed. Then we have the stun, forces him into a direction that he doesn't want to be going in, followed by the rest of the abilities, takes out the Tyrael. Great combos there, but what do they get out of it? Guys, this is what's just making me tear my hair out. They have 2 people dead. They have a full force that they could just blow people up with. Just push right in here, shield someone, blow up the front wall here, blow up the front wall here. The next objective is it's got to be bot lane, right? Because there was just an objective top, there was just an objective mid, and there hasn't been an objective bot this entire game. So it has to be bot lane. Well, if you can add pressure here, and you can get one of these camps, you just get a keep at the next objective. You get a keep at the next objective. As long as they can destroy the front walls here, they can do this. 2 people are dead. They have 15 seconds before the next person's up. They have 25 seconds before the next person's up. They could blow up this whole front wall in no time at all. All right? They go for kills. They check this bush to see if someone's recalling there. They check up here to see if anyone's recalling up here. And they go and they check all the bushes in these areas and go back to lanes. I despise when teams just go back to lanes. They get nothing out of this. They got 2 kills. They got nothing out of it. They needed to do something. All right. So they go. They're just kind of going back to lanes. They're not doing anything with their lead. They've got all this stuff. They're just kind of revealing everything. Now they could easily steal this. So they go for that. But what are they going to do with this? What they should be doing is they should be stealing this and they should be having Hanzo clear this. That way, they can aggressively steal... They could aggressively steal this, and then they could have this one push. They could hold back this one by standing right here. Wait till this pushes up a little bit. Then they can grab this and have 6 things pushing. And they could take almost all of this with that group of 6. Or they could have the 6 pushing here and they could go up and take this front wall. Once again, they take the easy, the safe and easy route. If you want to beat a team like Gen.g, you need to play aggressive. You need to be able to take these advantages further. And Dignitas is just not doing this. And I know it sounds like I'm being biased against Dig, but they've got the advantage right now. Gen.g just needs to play safe. Their stall comp will win the longer the fights go on. They're going to end up winning the more tools they get to survive. If someone dives in, they just have to lower the damage and boom, they can keep someone alive. So they go for a little bit down here. The next objective's bot, so they do want to get the towers down. So when the next objective spawns, it's going to be a lot easier. They could even try to push for the fountain if they want to. Kerrigan shows top. So Kerrigan shows top. The Gen.g's like, hey, we can go into this. This fight's for us right now. But against a portal as well as a Medivh, there's no way they're getting any kills. They need to fight on their turf. They need to fight on an objective. When you're playing a stall comp, that's how you win, is you fight on the objective. We're going to fast forward just a little bit. They're revealing this as this camp's about to spawn in 5 seconds. Invade. You have a blow-up comp. You have vision from Medivh. They can easily invade this. There's just way too many times. I get they're trying to get to level 16. They're going to have a big experience lead, a big talent tier lead during the next objective. But it just bothers me that like they haven't pushed any of these advantages outside of objectives. There's so much macro that they could be doing outside of objectives. So they go for this camp right here. Cool, right? But imagine if this camp, if they got this camp, and imagine if this whole front wall was gone. This would be the easiest keep of your life. Easiest keep. We have a fight that's starting here. All right? So first thing that needs to happen, they need to use the tools of survivability. That's how you stop. That's how you counter a blow-up comp. So you have a blow-up comp, use the tools before you use any of your cooldowns. We see that Medivh is melting down the Ethereal by just using his Q. We see a portal being used, probably just to scare people off a little bit. Some more Qs are being used from him. Right here, Bile. Bile, start burning all the cooldowns. Here's one of the cooldowns already used, though. What cooldown was already used, guys? Uriel jumped in. That's the armor. If the armor's already gone, let me click on someone else. If the armor's already gone, let's blow something up. There. So the armor was gone. They go for a combo. And now she uses her ult, so they just back off. They don't waste anything else on it. The bile's used to spread out everyone. They've used the bile to blow all the tools of survivability. And then they decide to go back into this fight. And now look at this. The tools of survivability are already used. Now, they don't have a lot of CC to follow this up, as both of these are distracted over there. The Tirana should be able to follow up with a stun, possibly right there, but I think she already used it. The Kerrigan had already used her combo, so they can't follow up with that. But maybe, I mean, still pulled him into a bile. It's a very solid bile. And now they have everything if they wanted to go in for something. And remember, all the tools are already used. The ley line ends. It's followed up by a stun. It's followed up by an arrow that was missed by Poik. Kind of unfortunate, but could have probably bursted him down. But either way, this is still a great fight for them. Do you see how they keep using their combos? And again, it's a very awkward fight. I actually don't like Wubby's Kerrigan at all. He's pulled people out of CCs numerous times, and he's wasted his pulls numerous times. He's even pulled people out of his own CCs. But despite how awkward this fight is, they wasted the enemy's tools of survivability, and they've pulled them in and pulled them away from each other numerous times, making this a great fight for them, and should be one of the easier objectives for them to get. What else do they get with this objective, though? And this is also what bothers me. Look at this. This would have been on the keep this entire fight if they would have just gotten that front wall. It's just disappointing. They set up a portal here. What are they going for right here? I could see them invade this. Like, this actually would be a pretty cool play. Invade this, kill this, hold the objective. Hold it, leave it at 39, guys. Steal this, Have 2 camps pushing there. Have someone finish this off. Have camps pushing in multiple directions, and then go and take everything. Hold the objectives. Come back with full health. Be ready. I don't know. You don't really want to hold an objective when you've got a talent tier up, but when everyone's split off like this, it's really strange. So one of the higher rank or high-end competitive strategies called proxying when you have an objective pushing. So the objective is going to be pushing here. You proxy here so you can destroy the turrets before the objective gets here, so it takes less damage when it's pushing further. So one of the things that this team will probably end up doing is proxying by killing these minions back here and then killing these turrets while the Punisher is fighting this. And then after they destroy the turrets, they'll go back and they'll destroy the fort, and then the Punisher will be able to go straight here with still being very healthy. So we're going to see the proxy should go off here. They do that. They proxy. You can see them going right back here. They want to destroy the sidewall, so when the Punisher jumps over, they can be aggressive over here. And then they go and they destroy one turret before the Punisher even gets here. And they try to get to the next turret as well and see if they can get that down before the Punisher gets there. Once again, they try to get that. Now the Punisher only takes maybe a single shot. I don't even think he got that shot. And boom. So now right into here. What does the Punisher always do whenever it slams someone? It stuns. Well, what can you do to follow up a stun? You have 3 things that can follow up stuns. So when this Tyrael is pulling him over, right there, you wait for his Q. You saw where his Q was going to go. Don't aim your hook for there. Aim your hook for there. You pull him, you stun, you blow up, boom, done. It's very obvious. Next thing, look for specific targets that are actually important to go for. You're doing a lot of damage. Pop a bile, get rid of their abilities. Okay, first thing. A W is used from Tyrael. We see shields on everyone. Blow someone up. There it is. Okay. Tassadar, right there. Cooldown was used, 15 seconds. So this is what you do. You literally type out in chat. You go 15, 30, Tassie. However it's spelled, doesn't matter. Why is that so important? Because when he's done with this and you have your tools again, he's a squishy person that has no escape. Why go over here? This guy has no escape and he's right there. Portal that way. Blow him up. They go for the Rainer. They pull him into the bile. They have the stuns available. They throw the stun a little late, but they burn a sanctification. All of their tools are getting used up. All right? They go for him. Look at this Tassadar, though. He's way out of position. Boom. Kills the Urel. Kill this Tassadar. We have 8 seconds left before he has an escape. They should know that. Someone should be able to watch really quick, guys. What is Tassadar's cooldown? Did we forget? The fight was pretty chaotic. Maybe we forgot. Press enter. 1530s when Tass E's up. It's that easy. They attack him a couple times, then they avoid him. They go for someone else that's more aggressive. Someone that's harder to kill. Look how aggressive he's playing. Now he has it back up. Now they go for him. Why do they go for him now? He has his E back up. Stop this. But now that he uses E, what do? You say, Tass E. You go 16, 11. Boom. Now you know again. The next thing is when you're racing like this, count out your damage. They have someone up in 18. You're going to be DPS by 4 people. How much health does the core have? 60,000 plus a 30,000 health shield. How much siege damage do we have? Plus, Tassadar is going to be tossing a shield on this thing. Every few seconds, there's going to be a shield on his core. So we need to do more than 100,000 damage to kill this. How much DPS do we have? Stitches does about 150 DPS to a core. Tirana does about 150 DPS to a core. Kerrigan does about 300 DPS to a core. Hanzo does about 230 DPS to a core. Medivh, if there's enemies near it, he does about 300 DPS to a core. If there's enemies not near it, he does about 100 DPS to a core. All in all, we have a little over 1,000 DPS to a core. We need to do over 100,000 damage. Can we do over 100,000 damage? That's, that's 100 seconds. Can we do 100 seconds? Can we survive 100 seconds? I don't know. I don't think so. They have portals. They could have gotten out. They have full control over the map right now. They don't need to close out the game right here. If they're alive, they don't need to close out this game. They go for it. They know they have some portal shenanigans, so try to keep people alive. They're not even trying to CC the ones. You see who they killed first. Kerrigan, the highest DPS I said. The next highest DPS, Hanzo. Who are the next two highest DPS that I said? I said Medivh, if there's enemies nearby. Well, there's enemies nearby. Guess who's going to die next? They go straight for Medivh. And guess who's dead next is Medivh. All right? After Medivh, Tyrande. Last person up was the last person they needed to worry about, Stitches. He gets a couple auto attacks, one slam, and that's it. Actually, yeah, he got one slam before he died. Okay. Guys, this is where this game turns, and it was honestly, the crowd was going nuts at this point. So, what are the big things that you need to know? First thing, play to your strengths. All right? If you're playing a blow-up comp, make sure that you use up everything that the enemies have to survive first. The next thing that you need to worry about is if you are, if you've got a lead, push your advantage. Every time you get a kill, get something. Dignitas could have had this keep done before this objective was even over. Then there would have been catapults pushing up here as this Punisher was going in this fight here. And those catapults would have done that 3% extra health, guaranteed. All right? They easily would have won this game. There were several times Dignitas could have pushed out ahead of time. Now, same thing with gen.g. gen.g could have held back and actually been more prepared for when they won objectives. They could have saved their abilities a little bit more, had the draft a little bit more available. Medivh was last picked by Dignitas. If you see a Tyrande and a Kerrigan on the same team, there should be no, and a Stitches, there should be no time where you don't pick Medivh. So that's the easiest thing that gen.g could have done. Medivh, that would have been the easiest win. They would have been done with this game like 5 minutes ago. But then they also didn't hold back when they got their objectives. They let people die too often when they could have just stayed back and soaked in the early game. The Dignitas wasn't even pressuring them at all. They could have played safe this entire game. So both teams could have done this better, but the biggest thing I want to make sure you guys learned out of this was, how do you pressure your advantage? How do you actually win these games? When you're winning, make sure that you actually pressure the advantage, because this was really sad. Dignitas had the advantage in the beginning, and they could have easily won this game if they would have pressured their advantage rather and watched their cooldowns a little bit better. If you've learned another thing too, Tassadar was playing super aggressive even when his cooldowns were when he had his E on cooldown. This should be the simplest thing that anyone could do, is just call out things that are large escapes, like long cooldown escapes. Call them out so your team can kill someone. It's as simple as that. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this this analysis of the final game of Dignitas versus gen.g. And I will be doing a video explaining the team comps that were used in HGC and explain how to how to play them and how to counter them. Otherwise, Feel free to check out any of my other videos, and if you like this style of video where I analyze the pro gameplay, I'm going to be doing, I can do more of those if you'd like me to. I'm going to be doing some other ones that are a lot shorter on pro gameplay, but that's probably maybe a month or two out, just because I want to make sure that they're really high quality. I'll be breaking down like very specific fights, but either way, I want to make sure that you guys enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. This was my longest video that I've posted in a long time, well over 3 months. So if you've gone through all the way to the end, thank you so much. Type 111 in your comments. I'd love to see who actually watched the entire thing. Just 3 ones, that'd be awesome. But yeah, if you like this, let me know. I can do this with whenever there's pro gameplay. The Heroes of the Dorms coming up pretty soon. We'll have MSB after that. I wouldn't mind doing this with all of the final matches so that you get to kind of see what they did well and what they could have done differently to change the style of the game. Thank you again for watching. Feel free to check out my other videos.